A Christmas Story Christmas is a sequel to the 1983 Christmas classic A Christmas Story. It's directed by Clay Kaytis, who did the Angry Birds movie and the Christmas Chronicles on Netflix. In A Christmas Story Christmas, it has been 20 plus years since the events of the first film, so it takes place in the mid-1970s. Ralphie, played by Peter Billingsley, is now a father with a wife and 2 kids, and he is trying to get his sci-fi novel published. A few days before Christmas, he gets a phone call from his mom to say that his dad has passed away, and so Ralphie takes his wife and kids to go see Grandma in Indiana. Ralphie feels a lot of pressure to make it the best Christmas ever, and while making preparations for Christmas, he takes some long trips down memory lane. I did not like this movie. I didn't even know it was coming out until I saw it on the front page of HBO Max. A sequel to a classic film bringing back the main cast would have caused a lot of excitement 15 or 20 years ago. But we have seen so many of these reboots and belated sequels that it's nothing special anymore, which is kind of sad. It has a lot of problems, but the biggest one is that it isn't funny. It's actually pretty boring. It's not like insulting my intelligence bad, but it is still difficult to get through in one sitting. It did get a few things right, though. I'm glad the story focused primarily on Ralphie. He's the one we want to see. I'm sick of sequels pushing the original characters to the side to make way for a younger and much less interesting cast, like The Force Awakens or Ghostbusters Afterlife. I am also glad they were able to get the whole cast back together, with the exception of those who have passed away or are retired from acting. They had to recast Ralphie's mom because I think she's 83 years old now and doesn't act anymore. If nothing else is entertaining in this movie, there is at least some enjoyment in seeing what all these kids look like as adults. I haven't seen any of these actors in any other films except for the actor who plays Scud Farkus, who where did I see him? Oh yeah, I saw him in one of those Resident Evil movies. Unfortunately, even though they got the original cast, it still feels like one of those direct-to-DVD sequels where they replaced the original actor with Larry the Cable Guy or Cuba Gooding Jr. That's about it as far as what I liked. Here are some of the things that I didn't like. This movie relies entirely on making references to the previous film. I'm not going to call them member berries, I'm kind of sick of that phrase. Since the film spends all its time referencing the past, it doesn't tread any new ground, and that makes it very bland. We go to the same mall so the kids can see the same Santa Tower slide. We have Flick and Schwartz triple dog daring each other. Ralphie fantasizes about protecting his family again from Bad Bart. It even uses the same soundtrack. Ralphie is also obsessing about making a great Christmas for his kids, so you would think that would lead to some creative and crazy antics, but it doesn't. He takes the kids sledding, he takes them to see Santa, they set up the Christmas tree, they open presents, the end. I don't know how you could possibly make it any more uneventful than that. Another big problem is that the joke structure, or whatever you want to call it, that they borrow from the original film doesn't work here. There were some very funny scenes in the original film which involve Ralphie's over-the-top childhood daydreams. It makes sense to see an 8-year-old boy daydreaming about wearing a silver cowboy outfit while shooting bandits with his BB gun. It doesn't make sense to see a 50-plus-year-old man with a wife and 2 kids fantasizing about the same thing. Ralphie has several daydream fantasies in this movie, and none of them are funny. I take that back. One of them was mildly amusing, where he imagines himself in jail and he sees that all of his family have moved on without him. A Christmas Story also violates canon. In this movie, they show a character named Junior Kissel, one of Ralphie's childhood friends. Some of you may not know this, but they made a sequel to A Christmas Story back in the 90s called My Summer Story, which starred Charles Grodin, Mary Steenburgen, and Kieran Culkin. In My Summer Story, they show a scene where the Kissels have a garage sale and move away. And Ralphie says, "I never saw Junior Kissel again." So they just blatantly disregard established canon by including Kissel in A Christmas Story Christmas. I'm being mostly facetious here, but at the same time, come on. That's false doctrine, Reverend. So no, I don't recommend it unless you're dying to see what Schwartz and Flick look like as adults, but that novelty wears off pretty quickly.